Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Sith Justice Warriors podcast. I am your host today, Princess Olympia, joined by my co-hosts Darth Sirius, and welcome back, Jaded Fan. He is recovering from respiratory issues, not COVID-19
How do
related.
you know that? That's a great question.
Well, you would have had a fever and a bunch of other different things. Although I don't know. At the end of the day, the last few episodes, you guys know my obsession with this virus, but like it literally because it's been touching all our lives. But yeah, I mean, we don't know, and I'm starting to believe we all will have the virus at some point. It'll just be like chicken pox, you know, at some point.
Not bringing light to the whole pandemic that we're going through. I think it's just rather insane how infectious this virus is, and how it's so similar to flu that a healthy person thinking that it's a cold or a flu, normal flu, it could be COVID. It's just crazy, and all you could say is
Stay safe.
stay safe out there.
Wash
Wash
your
your
hands.
hands. Social distancing. Vitamin C. Eat healthy. Um, and please buy Corona beer because Corona beer does not give you Corona. It's in Mexico.
I think
So
I feel like it's funny that you mentioned that because it's like I feel like the reason why people don't buy Corona is because I feel like it's more like word association. It's like because Corona, because there's no doubt like coronavirus is everywhere. Like no matter what channel you turn on, everybody's talking about it, and like so many people are affected by it to the point where it's like you go to a beer store and then you see Corona, it's just like you're just naturally put off for some
because
reason.
it's in the media. But anyway, to your point, Fan, yeah, we'll all stay safe. And we hope everyone is listening out there. Anyway, let me just kick it off. There was a lot of stuff in the news lately, and like I said, COVID-19 is a big one. It's on my radar. It literally impacts everything that I read about, everything that I'm interested in. Comic-Con conventions being canceled. Um, a lot of different things like movies being pushed out, delayed, canceled, pushed into streaming platforms, Netflix migrating to SD versus HD so that the internet doesn't break down. We're working from home, we're staying indoors, we're stockpiling. You know what I mean? It's new world that we live in. Anyway, it doesn't stop the news from happening, and it doesn't stop other topics that we definitely want to touch on in today's episode. So, one of them being the most recent casting announcement of Rosario Dawson to be cast as Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian 2. So just wanted to get your guys' thoughts. This is like hot off the presses. At first, I thought it was a rumor, but then it started hitting the media as actual fact. So I wanted to get your thoughts around it, the panel, because it was something new. It wasn't something I was expecting. Everyone knew that watches, the animated series, the Clone Wars, and that watches like the things that came after that from the animated series of the Star Wars universe are familiar with the character. And she's a Force user. She was trained by Anakin. So people are familiar with her. I just didn't think she would pop up in The Mandalorian 2. I was actually having a discussion with Sirius about this. I'm like, does it make sense to have her pop up in The Mandalorian 2? I know she popped up in The Last Jedi, or not The Last Jedi, the Skywalker film. It's like so far from my head. That as a voice, the voice actress that plays her in the cartoon or animated adaptation. But yeah, let me get your thoughts. Let me start with you, Sirius. Give us your thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, like I think that I haven't watched too much of Clone Wars, at least not as much as I should, because the episodes that I have watched were really good. Especially, when it comes to like lightsaber fights. I mean, you have people like, like Darth Maul going up against Palpatine. You have Ahsoka go up against Anakin, and like there's really like engaging like stories and dialogue exchange there. As far as Rosario Dawson, I can definitely see that, especially from seeing like the animated face and then seeing, Rosario Dawson. I feel like it could definitely be a good fit. And it's not that she's not unfamiliar, with this form of like a show, considering that she's been on the Marvel Netflix series such as Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. So I think she could do a pretty good job. I mean, time will tell exactly what role she'll play to determine how likable she'll be in the season. But this is the way.
Yeah. What about you, Phan? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm not familiar with Ahsoka's character, so I know a lot of people love her. They love the journey of how she started to who she became. So I have to respect that. I think Rosario Dawson is a pretty good actress. I actually first noticed her as a good actress when she was in Firefly. So I have faith, especially with how she performed in the whole Daredevil Defenders universe. Other movies that she's been in, I'm not worried about her acting chops. I guess the question is that I'd have to watch the Clone Wars to understand if she really captures Ahsoka's character, because, I mean, she could with a bit of makeup look like her, just based on what I'm seeing in the comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know like what is Ahsoka Tano, because again I'm not well versed in this mythology of the Clone Wars.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting though. Like I said, I had the discussion with you, Sirius. Like, is this the right place for her to be put into the live action? Feels like it's the right place, but it'll be interesting. Well, especially since at the end of The Mandalorian they introduced what the heck was that guy's name at the end with the dark saber?
Oh, shit.
Darth something. Well,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, they introduced him and he had the dark saber, and I think he is from the Clone Wars. So, again, like we'll see how it all kind of plays into the makeup and everything. I'm pretty sure is going to be top notch. So,
Moff Gideon.
Oh, Moff Gideon. Sorry, I'm like Darth Gideon.
It took me a minute.
But yeah. So again, it'll be interesting to say the least. The next thing I wanted to cover was, I'm pretty sure, I mean, it's kind of old news, but we know that for a fact now that the Black Widow movie has been delayed. And it makes sense, honestly. No one is in the theaters. The theaters are closed. The malls are closed. It actually just makes sense to push out the release date of the Black Widow movie, given all the uncertainty. A lot of filming has stopped for a lot of TV shows that we watch, a lot of Netflix shows that we watch. So, I mean, it's kind of sad because the timing couldn't be worse. This is when most Americans are stuck at home and binge watching is going to be prevalent, but it's also going to take a toll on the network and everything. Some of us are even feeling it now, some of us not so much. But wanted to get your thoughts on the last trailer, they call it the final trailer, as well as thoughts on whether or not you think Disney is going to go the route that they did with Onward, where the Disney Pixar film that just came out about like a troll in search for like something for his father or something like that. I don't know much about it except some of the trailers. I was actually shocked that it was a Disney Pixar film. It didn't look like something I would typically go see, and I love Disney Pixar, but I was surprised. Anyway, they are pushing it out. I actually got a notification it's available on Prime Video Cinema, which is something new from Amazon. So yeah, let me start with you, Sirius. Let me get your thoughts on the final trailer. Any thoughts around Black Widow? What do you think's gonna happen next?
Well, I did like the first trailer, and I actually really enjoyed the second trailer a lot. Because I felt like we got to know a little bit more about Taskmaster, and at least for me, like I kind of, I guess watching the trailer in 4K definitely kind of helped because I saw the detail in his mask. So I can't really tell if they made changes to his look, but he definitely looks a lot better from when I first saw like concept photos of him. And the shield is really is pretty badass. It looks pretty close to to what he had in the comic books. And yeah, it's going to be cool because for those of you who are unfamiliar with Taskmaster. Taskmaster in the comic books has had rivals with the likes of Captain America, Bucky Barnes, Ant-Man, and then of course Black Widow herself. And basically he has the ability to mimic the fighting style of anybody he goes up against. So it's going to be cool to see how they incorporate this type of villain in the MCU, especially considering that this movie is supposed to take place between Civil War and Infinity War. Now, I really hope that he's not a throwaway villain. I hope they at least keep him around, kind of like what they did with Zemo. Because when I saw Zemo show up in the little teaser, the Super Bowl teaser for Disney Plus, for Falcon Winter Soldier, kind of made me a little happy because that's the one thing I will say about the MCU. Like they're very notorious with really trashing these like throwaway villains. I will say Malekith is the only exception that I will allow because he was pretty fucking terrible. But even Ronan, like you could have even kept Ronan around for a little bit, and the way they threw him around, like in Guardians 1, where he was taking the Infinity Stone from Thanos and kept it to himself. They could have even kept that little like rival thing going for a little bit. But anyway, back to Black Widow. I think it's definitely going to be a really cool movie. I definitely feel like a Winter Soldier type of vibe. And I know that's speaking a little too soon because, in my opinion, Winter Soldier is one of my favorite MCU movies ever. But I like the music in the trailer. If they keep to that type of music in the movie and the fight scenes and everything, I think we could definitely see a really good movie come up here. Phan, how about you?
Felt like a Jason Bourne movie to me, which is a positive. This is the Black Widow movie that would have been great 5 years ago. You probably heard me say this many times. It's a movie that I wanted 5 years ago. It's a movie that I wanted before she, spoiler alert, died in the Avengers, or so we think. So I'm excited to watch it. Whether I watch it in a movie theater, whether I watch it at Disney Plus, it's fine. Right now, the Marvel is going through a bit of. I still am in this, how do I say this? Marvel. I don't know if it's Marvel fatigue, but it's just like the story was over for me, and I'll watch it when I watch it, and I think that's kind of a sad thing, especially with what I've been seeing with Marvel doing the whole New Warriors thing, hearing what I heard about what they've done to Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean in the comic books. Marvel really has, and I fit more with a bit more of the hardcore fan, and that's the problem. And maybe I kind of wish I was a bit more casual, is because I don't see just Black Widow. I see what they're doing, everything else, and I'm like, oh god, this is going to go to the screen. You know, Jean Grey is going to be having threesomes watching Cyclops and Logan go at it.
Oh boy.
Um, I, it's a lot of these other things that I wish I didn't see. I wish I was a bit more casual, but I'm not, and especially because I'm a big X-Men fan. I'm a big Cyclops fan. Diverting from the whole Black Widow thing, I think Marvel's got to do a lot to sell me back. And then we'll do this in a variant episode, but after watching Blade 2, I'm not convinced that Marvel Marvel Studios Blade's going to be as great as Blade 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
God, but we got to do a variant episode, because Blade 2 shocked me, because I was like, this is, I'm going to say an unpopular opinion, it was better than Black Panther. It was edgier, it was grittier, and it had its chuckle moments, but they were just like, Wesley Snipes could sell an African American Japanese styled man. You know what I mean? Because I think in real life, doesn't he real life actually do that?
No, he does. Like, I
he's
remember.
really zen like that.
Like, yeah, so like, I believe you. Like, I was recalling Blade Trinity because that was the most fresh in my mind, and I remember it, and I had good thoughts of it. It's not, like I said, they're not like, oh my god, like the best, like, but for what it was, for the time that it existed, I thought it was good.
No, but like, let's stop with the Blade talk, because I think we got to deep dive Blade and actually think about, maybe talk about when we know more information about Blade. Was it
Mashallah Ali. Yep.
I think I still stand that he was. If you weren't going to go Wesley Snipes, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But Wesley Snipes, even in Blade 2, I was like, whoa, how is he going to replace this? And you know what? I wonder if you put Deadpool around there, is Ryan Reynolds going to make a reference that he hung out with Blade with a different actor?
That's a good one.
That would be good. No, but let's go back to Black Widow. It's the one that I was actually excited for, in terms of as high as excitement as I can anymore. That's why, I mean, you can't hear it in my voice, but it's the one movie out of like Eternals and Captain Marvel 2 and Black Panther 2. Like, that's the one that I wanted to see a lot sooner. But hey, I hear rumors that she's not dead, right?
It's interesting. Like the theories are actually interesting, but at the same time, assuming that this theory is actually true, it kind of takes away from her death, because you would know that it really wasn't her. So basically, so Phan, go back to Winter Soldier, and remember when Black Widow used the facial map technology to get into Alexander Pierce's office, when she was disguising herself as that red-haired woman.
Yeah.
And she kicked everybody's ass, and she put the gun to Pierce's head. So apparently, people are thinking that Yelena Belova and Black Widow use this technology, are going to not only use this technology in the upcoming film, but they also use this technology to disguise each other, and that the person who actually dies in Endgame is really Yelena Belova and not actually Black Widow.
That's horseshit. Like, if they did that, that's horseshit. But number two, why didn't Yelena Belova die in the snap? But then number three, that's such a cop-out.
It is.
Why would they do that? So what? Okay. Excuse me.
And also, wouldn't Hawkeye know?
Him sick. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I had like an asthmatic attack. No, the idea that you do this because you're afraid to have Brie Larson, who is rumored to lead the Avengers in Avengers 5.
Fuck. I mean, oh,
Because you
sorry.
can't, she's not likable. You're gonna have her save the day, but you have fill your quota of it's female-led Avengers. It's half-hearted. Now, if you're talking multiverse, fine, but we didn't really do multiverse, did we? Yet.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange will help out with that.
I, is there any other theories about that? Because it doesn't make sense. Like how? Okay, how would Barton, who basically that was his work wife, how
Yeah.
would Clint Barton not notice that his work wife is acting slightly different?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, that I mean, like I said, that's the one thing that that was like a red flag for me. And then also, like it just wouldn't make sense because, like I said, Black Widow is one of the six iconic Avengers, along with Hawkeye, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Like there was a reason why she had a special outro, in Endgame, when they had the signatures and everything, but
Excuse me.
like it really takes away from the death. It's like go like if that was actually true, like if you actually learn this in Black Widow, it would be really hard for me to go back and watch Endgame and appreciate that scene
Yeah.
because because I'm not sure, like I heard that there was like a deleted scene like going around that like Hawkeye, where Hawkeye actually ended up dying, um instead of like Black Widow. But if that was the case with Yelena Below, it's like you might as well have just had like Hawkeye die. Especially with everything that's been going on, like the cancellation of the show and everything. And it's like I said, like just because everybody loves Black Widow, and that Black Widow is one of the greatest characters in the MCU, it still doesn't justify bringing it back. Like I know that Robert Downey Jr. was open to rejoining the MCU. I mean, and and with all due respect to Robert Downey Jr., because I think he's a great actor. And he's one of my personal favorites. But let's face it, Doolittle didn't really do so well in the box office. So I mean, like if he were to come back to the MCU, like it would have to be the right way. And like I said, like I'm really curious with with this Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I really hope this really opens up a lot of doors, for different characters to come back. Because like I said, it's one thing to bring them back, but it's another thing to bring them back in the right way.
I think the MCU, to your point, should own their mistakes.
Yeah,
If they believe they bet on Barton and they bet on it being a one shot with um, Scarlett Johansson's character, they should own it. And they basically, this is what it is. They put their bet on Brie Larson, and yeah, it made $1 billion, but I'm gonna tell you, it's not the most liked character. I mean,
yeah,
you hear it on Twitter that it's the most liked character, just like the greatest longest running comic book series ever, her protege Miss Marvel. By the way, there was an article that I wanted to do when I was away in Hawaii, but it was in Hawaii, but it was saying how it was the most successful financially, and I was like, what? And they're like, though digital is not counted, digital is a very you know large portion. And I'm like, there's no facts. Anyway, yeah, they made their bed. They made their bed with Brie. They made their bed with Kamala Khan. Own it. Just like the Avengers video game. You want to promote her in that and as the lead character? Do it. See what happens.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think we'll see. I mean, it's interesting that the theory came up. I agree in the sense that I think it takes away from the meaning behind what happened. That would be a strange twist. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's bots coming up with that theory. To be honest with you, I don't. I don't know that there's much else to say other than that. But I personally, I don't know that it's that. It's necessarily, that. I don't know. I don't know how much steam's behind it. That's all I'll say. But I mean, I am interested to see the movie still.
Yeah.
I hope that Disney does the right thing and pushes it to Disney Plus.
Yeah. Now, yeah, and
that's what I did want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. One question I and I'm so glad that you're back because I get to ask this question to you, Phan. Like I said, to Lupia's point, COVID-19 is all around us, and like whether we like it or not, like it affects everything, and especially with not just movie premieres getting pushed out, but also movie productions as well. And with all these streaming services coming out, do you think that based off like the certain timelines of like these movie premieres and everything, rather than like delaying it, especially with Marvel, do you think it would make sense for Disney to release Black Widow on Disney Plus?
It'd be a ballsy move if they want to grow their Disney Plus subscriber count. They could take the bold move and do that. I guess the question is, do you rather take the revenue? So, okay, someone buys a month of Disney Plus. How much is that?
Well, it was like, to be honest, I mean, I felt like I got a deal. It was like $100 for 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, but what is it now? 15 a month?
Oh, I don't know what it is now. That's a good question.
They're not getting anything from the ticket sales right now. So the question
yeah, so I mean, if you think about it, it's something.
Yeah, it's something rather than getting nothing. So maybe they should, if they're that desperate.
And it would also get subscribers too, because in the end, it's Disney primarily making the money and then distributing it amongst like the actors and
FYI, the parks are closed. The parks are shut down.
Movie theaters shut down.
Like, I don't know where Disney is going to be getting their income from. The parks are shut down. Like that. That was supposed to be like, this was the season for it. Everyone knows that. Spring break, most people with families go to Disney. So it's
Well, another thing too is that they the Disney Plus has not really had anything new. So and maybe the subscriber count is actually stagnant, and I don't have any hard numbers. So maybe it's a bold move they need to do.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking like you too, because a part of me thinks that it's a part of me really does think that this is the way it's going to be for a little. So we might want to, or Disney might want to consider like pushing it out, just for the reason of that, that I don't know when they will, because this is impacting pretty much everything. So, in my opinion, so I don't know. But thanks, guys. That was kind of where my mind was at. I'm pretty sure other people are thinking about it. Like I said, I think Onward is a test for them, if anything, to see how it does. I mean, hey, $14.99 revenue so that a family of four, an average size family of four, can watch it. That's not bad. I know at the movie theater you probably get more, and then they'll make money on the concessions. But hey, times are tough, and I don't think Disney is getting any favors from the government if any of the bills pass through. They're not an airline company. They're not the cruise lines, that they're not the hospitality and management. Yes, they have that sort of wing of hospitality management, but I don't know that the parks are going to get any help. I don't know that the movie theaters are going to get any
Well,
help.
they're already expecting a downside because of the fact that when they switched from Bob Iger to Bob Chapek, they kind of decided, let's take the hit now. Let's do restructuring, do the cost cutting under Bob, give him a golden parachute, and then give it to whoever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because also in the end, like how much does Disney actually make? Like say for example, like a movie ticket's like $10. Like how much of that $10 does Disney actually see versus someone paying a subscription of Disney Plus and having it all go directly to Disney?
Well, they make on the licensing to play it.
Yeah.
That's what they do, and I don't know how much that costs.
Yeah, so it'll come down to,
They probably make more on the movie, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, not the subscription. But it's not about that. It's about making money or not. Like
Mhm.
if you have the choice, like because times are tough, you got to make the decision. So that's the way I see it. But anyway, lastly, I did want to talk Phan since we have you back. There was some news this week about the Xbox specs. I didn't get a chance to see everything, but I know the PS5 specs were out.
oh no.
The timing of this kind of is, in a weird way, it sucks because most of America is suffering from, a lot of the closures, a lot of the shelter in home directives that are going out there, depending on what state you live in. But the other piece of it is that for those of us who are staying at home, I mean, we need something, right? We need something to do. So a lot of us are binge watching Netflix. We're playing video games. We're watching movies on, the internet, YouTube. Like, streaming is like a big deal. Just having a system is probably going to be a big deal. So wanted to get the panel's thoughts, especially yours, Phan. Like, give us the lowdown on the specs of Xbox. Highlight if you have any highlights on the PS5, because I honestly haven't done my research on that yet because it's kind of fresh.
Oh, man.
But
I'm fresh.
give us the lowdown because I'm curious. I spent a lot of money. Well, I say a lot of money, but like I actually I bought into the Scorpio. I bought it day one, and I'm happy with it. But I'm just saying, do I need to dish out for this system?
Okay.
New Xbox X.
So I'm fresh out of wading through the fanboy fights on YouTube and Twitter. So here's the lowdown. Xbox Series X in the short run, more powerful. It has 12 teraflops. It's kind of basically raw power, nothing extremely custom fancy. It's custom, but it's nothing crazy behind the scenes secret sauce stuff. Better RAM, 12 teraflops. The Xbox X that you and I have is a 6 teraflop, but it's not double the power. Well, teraflop wise, it's not just double the power. It's a little bit more because the chips that are inside are older generation. So for you to do 60 frames per second smooth and 4K, it's really hard to do it on the X. You kind of do a little bit less than that versus doing it on the Series X. The nice thing about it is that everything you buy for now carries with you, which is the backwards compatibility is really great.
That's awesome.
So if the best thing is if you buy Cyberpunk 2047 and you bought a bunch of crap because you love Keanu Reeves and you bought it for your X, you're asking, can I play it on the Series X? And the answer is yes. and you will get all the benefits. You'll get the better graphics, the better load, the better performance. However, on the PlayStation side, it's slightly less powerful at 10 teraflops. Now, fanboy fights fight between the fact that it's nine teraflops. That's what is it? 9 teraflops. It's overclocked, and sometimes it hits 10. Sometimes it hits, most of the times it hits 9. Whatever. It has the better load time, so it has a better hard drive that probably I guess would be double the speed. So if the Series X loads something in 4 seconds, the PlayStation 5 will load it in 2 seconds, or maybe even 1. If that's important to you, great. The backward compatibility is limited only to PlayStation 4, but that being said, it's not really forward compatible. So the question that they've not clarified is, if Darth Series buys a PlayStation 4 and buys Final Fantasy VII Remake, does he have to buy Final Fantasy VII Remake for PlayStation 5 to get all the better graphics and better performance? They've not said that. They've not really clarified that to me. Because at least I know Xbox has explained that they'll give you the upgrade files like PC does. PC will get the upgrade files, and when you finally upgrade your PC card, you'll get the better performance or better graphics. That being said, if you want to hold on to your X, Lumpia, for maybe a year, because I think the Series X may be $500 to $600.
Yeah.
And you want to wait for it to drop a year, it's okay, because you'll probably, I mean, when you finally upgrade, you'll get the benefit. All your games will carry over. PlayStation 5, you have to kind of have a library. I know you folks don't. No knock on you. But like I said, if you bought a PlayStation 4 for Final Fantasy VII, I don't know if you're going to get the benefit of the PS5. You might have to rebuy it again. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying they've never clarified it, whereas Microsoft was very clear.
No, and that makes sense. I think that's the thing. I mean, I joked about it with you before. Like, I was almost to the point where I kind of wanted to just buy into the whole PC thing and go full on PC. But I ended up not. But yeah, I mean, that's why I joked about it. But if this gets me closer to the PC is what you're saying.
Yeah, and to add to this, right? I'm in the background when I'm on mute. I'm playing Resident Evil 3's demo right now on my 4K TV. Jill Valentine and Carlos look really good. Like, I see the nasty dirt grime on their skin. It's great. But, you don't have to. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you want to hold and just kind of see how it all evolves, take your time. Because at least I know with Xbox, they're not going to get screwed, at least for the first year. You might get screwed in the second year, but then by that time, you're probably going to want to upgrade. PlayStation, their whole thing is about selling you the car, whereas Microsoft's selling you the service.
Yeah.
I think the service costs more, but at the end of the day, they're not forcing you to buy the car. They just want your service.
That makes sense.
And I'm not going to get in the whole fanboy stuff, Xbox and no games, or PlayStation and this, and I don't want to get into that. That's kind of why I was kind of sarcastic about the fact that I said I walked out of the muck of the fanboy. Because, by the way, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy listening to it, but it is very draining.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
What about you? Serious? Any news for you? I know we've been talking while you were gone. Fan, we've been talking about the remake of Final Fantasy. So I'm pretty sure for Serious, the big one is being backwards compatible.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing with I don't have too much to say between this console war between Microsoft and Sony, but I will say that I am a converted Xbox fan. I kind of gave up a little bit, kind of like mid PS3 era. I mean, because in the end, it's like, for me personally, from playing these consoles, for me, I will give credit where credit's due is that Sony does have good um exclusive only games versus Xbox. But at the end of the day, play my I'd rather play a game on the Xbox over the PS4 if I had the choice. And and for me, as much as I love Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 7 remake, it's like for me, I could just wait for it to come on Xbox. I could watch one of my you know people that I follow on YouTube, stream it, and just to kind of get me like excited for it, because one game is not going to justify me spending that much money on a console, because in the end it's like if there's only a handful of exclusive only games that I would play, it's like if I'm going to buy a console, I'm going to buy a whole lot of fucking games. and especially from the last 2 Black Fridays, I definitely learned a lot about myself and the relationship I have with the Xbox Scorpio, is that I really like that. I really like that console because I have a shit ton of games for it.
That's the thing, right? It's the ecosystem war. It's all digital now, so that's the problem. Is that the war that Microsoft should have won, because they lost this generation. They should have focused on winning this one because it's the war of the ecosystem. Because I have 400 plus games on Microsoft. I can't leave it behind for PlayStation. Same thing with you. Your library is growing. You can't leave it behind.
Right.
So it's about the service, and I mean that's why I really like this whole Game Pass thing. I like the Ultimate Game Pass Ultimate because I could use my computer too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, by the way, as I play Resident Evil 3, I think I might double dip. I might get it for Xbox and PC. Well, I already got it for PC, but it's just free. Yeah, it's actually more consumer friendly Xbox, and I'm going to leave it at that. I know a lot of people say games this, games that, but we mostly play multiplats, and we just want the better looking versions of the multiplats. And guess what? Right now, it's sitting with Xbox with the bigger teraflops.
Yeah, and in the end, you could like Fan could go on for days about the PlayStation, and I could go on for days about the Microsoft. But in the grand scheme of things, it really just comes down to personal taste. I mean, because in the end, people are going to buy Xbox, people are going to buy Sony, and it is what it is. Like I don't knock people who prefer PlayStation over Xbox. I mean, if that's their preference, why not? They see something that I don't, more power to them. But I have my opinion, and yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll change. I don't know, because like I said, I never thought that I would convert to Xbox. So who knows? Maybe somewhere down the road, I'll end up liking PlayStation again. But at least for the time being, I don't see that happening.
Yep. And with that, guys, thanks again for a very interesting panel. We had a lot of lost time to make up with you, Phan. But anyway, we're glad to have you back. We're glad we're all safe and healthy for now. We hope that everyone listening stays safe and healthy and remembers to wash your hands. But with that, I will close out the episode. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, on another episode of This is Justice Warriors podcast, where we talk everything under the twin suns of Tatooine. But most of all, we hope you guys stay safe. And let us know feedback. We definitely want to hear from you guys. This is our outlet out to the world as we continue social distancing, but not over the internet or social media or things like that. So feel free to tweet us at Justice Sith, our Twitter account, as well as our email.
Yes, which is Sith Justice Warriors Podcast at email.com.
Awesome. Yes, so let us know your thoughts. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you, and stay safe. And with that, we will end today's podcast and speak with you next week.
See you on the Sith side.
See ya.
Bye.